Hi, it's Stephen DiPietro from servicewithpurpose.net. I want to talk about the issue that we always talk about in customer service, which is to be outwardly focused. You should be looking at your customers, not looking at what's in the deal for you. Look at what's best for the customer. But what happens in this situation is that we tend to get sometimes a little accusatory. Now, what I mean by this is when things don't go quite well with customer service, we start using the word you, Y-O-U. Now, the word you, you've got to be very careful. You've got to be very careful with it. And what happens? How do you feel when someone says you've got to do this? You've got to do that. It gets a little bit grating almost. It gets a bit annoying. So I want to go through some of the situations where you shouldn't necessarily use that word in a customer service, in a tricky customer service situation. There's the prescriptive you, where you prescribe to people what they should be doing. You have to do this. You have to follow this process. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. Then there's the presumptive one, which is you want. Oh, I understand you want this. You want that. So you can either be prescriptive, you have to, or presumptive, you want. The other one is the accusatory you, which is you breached, you yelled. All of a sudden it turns the energy from the person who is trying to help the situation back onto them in a negative way, that it's like, I'm accusing you of doing something wrong. Even if you did something wrong, you don't need to hear it as the customer. There's the insulting you didn't understand. Again, it just grates the wrong way. Then there's the guilty you hurt me. So there's a screaming match going on and the customer service representative says, look, you really hurt me when this happened. Well, again, when you said you hurt me, you're putting the onus all the way back to the customer. Then there's the condescending you. I understand you, which is not in a negative connotation, but often used in a sales situation. I understand you want this. I understand you need that. I think what we need to do is get rid of that word altogether in customer service situations. So, for example, if there's yelling going on and you need to summarize a situation, you say something like, when the yelling started, these things happened. Or, when the process wasn't followed, these things happened. As opposed to, you didn't follow the process, take away the whole personality thing. When the process wasn't followed, cuts a little different to you didn't follow the process. Or instead of the condescending, I understand you want this, that, or the other, perhaps you could say, our suggestion is to do these things. We understand that the situation is as follows. You could even say, we understand that you wanted this. It's just a little different because it starts from the position of how we're processing the information, not what you as the customer are throwing out there. So have a think about that simple little word. It's 3 letters and we throw it around often, and we wonder why we get ourselves into trouble. It's the same in any argument. In any argument you have with a loved one or a work colleague, as soon as that word you comes out, things escalate, things get personal, things matter a hell of a lot more. So be careful with it, and I hope today you have a wonderful day like every other day. And again, it's Stephen DiPietro from servicewithpurpose.net.